Anyone who visited South Carolina's local supermarket at night had a possibility of running into a hard-working employee named Edward. What many uncertain suspecting shoppers probably didn't realize was that Edward was also the principal of the local high school. But why was he working two different jobs? While many people in the community had expressed confusion over Edward's double life, the truth behind his surprisingly busy schedule would definitely rock his community to the core. Edward has always been a private person. As such, not many even knew that he was balancing two jobs at once. Edward even humbly stated that he feels he hasn't done anything of distinction to warrant the attention. But if this was the case, then why was Edward suddenly in the media spotlight? For one thing, his schedule seemed almost superhuman. From 10 p.m. right until 7 a.m., Edward tirelessly toiled away at his local supermarket. And while all his coworkers might have been very happy to head home after the overnight shift, Edward didn't have that luxury. He had his other job, not to mention his role as a community leader, to take on. As soon as he finished his supermarket shift, Edward would travel to Blue Valley High School, where he happened to be the beloved principal. Edward maintained many personal relationships with his students and also kept close tabs on their well-being. Sadly, most of these kids faced rather grueling challenges. Blue Valley High School was not even one of those schools that was located in a well-to-do area. In fact, at least 90% of its student body came from families that were below the poverty line. When asked about his students' many struggles, Edward couldn't hold back the tears in his eyes. During an interview, Edward also revealed the harsh condition under which most of his students suffered. While some found themselves even sleeping under a bridge, others would end up sleeping in a car as their families could not afford a proper home. Astonishingly, this was not the full extent of the issues faced by Blue Valley's attendees. Edward enjoyed checking in on almost all his students at their homes, where he talked to them about their lives and even ensured that they were in a safe environment. During all these visits, he would encounter homes where there were windows without any curtains and bare mattresses just lying on the floor with no other furniture around. Understandably, these conditions inspired Edward to lend a helping hand. While already faced with a raging swarm of struggles, the lives of the kids of Blue Valley High School were about to get even more complicated as COVID-19 had swept across the globe. Suddenly, limited finances were not the only issue. Now the students' health and social lives were about to be severely impacted as well. Even though he was already dedicated to his students, Edward was forced to think of new solutions as the pandemic had changed life as they knew it. His life coaching, as well as home visits, would no longer be a good way to see them through tough times. But little did the community know that Edward actually had a plan. Even though Edward called himself a fairly private person, he came up with a solution that nobody else was aware of. Edward had actually applied for a night shift position at his local supermarket without even mentioning to the store manager that he was also the local school principal. At that moment, Edward began to show the true extent of his generosity. Every evening, he would drive from his day job as the principal to his night job at the supermarket, where he would stock shelves on the graveyard shift. In a true act of kindness, Edward would dedicate every single dime of his second income to his students by purchasing whatever supplies they would lack. But it would simply be a matter of time until word of his double life eventually got out. Even before Edward's secret was revealed, the supermarket's manager, Barbara, knew that there was something special about him. But what had inspired the principal to express such kindness and tireless dedication towards all his students even before we knew that there was something special about him? When Edward saw his students, he was instantly reminded of his own childhood struggles. Having lost his father at quite a young age, Edward and his mother had to seek alternative ways to make ends meet. He even recalled going with his mother to collect all the milk and soda bottles from the roadside while also visiting the dump to possibly see if there was anything that could help them get by. Edward remembered how one day while fishing at the dump, his mother reached into it and found a white cloth from that piece of fabric and was able to make Edward a shirt for school. Tragically, Edward's mother never managed to see her boy fulfill his goal of becoming a teacher as she passed away while he was still in college. Still, Edward never forgot his mother's sacrifice and is extremely appreciative of her as she had no shame in helping her child become a teacher. Driven by his mother's memory, Edward worked tirelessly at the supermarket to support his students while busy providing them with an education during the day. That was until the community had discovered Edward's double life. Truly taken aback by Edward's absolute selflessness, his supermarket family decided that it was high time to provide the hardworking man and his school with a much-deserved reward. One day in the chilly winter, the staff at Edward's supermarket decided to call him to a gathering on the school's football field, where a large group of his students were busy waiting to greet him. It was there that Edward was also interviewed about. But what Edward didn't know was that there was a nice surprise waiting for him. As Edward engaged in his heartwarming interview, his supermarket manager, Barbara, stood by his side along with the rest of his supermarket associates. Soon enough, the interviewer called Barbara to center stage, where she stepped forward with a blue bag in her hand. What lay inside this bag would change the lives of Edward's students forever. After opening the bag, Edward's jaw dropped to the floor as he saw a massive check for $50,000 written out. But even as his students immediately erupted in applause, Edward knew his job wasn't over yet. Even with Blue Valley receiving such a huge donation, Edward was determined to continue working night shifts at the supermarket and sending all his wages to his students. There was just one thing that Edward requested from his students in return. He only asked that all these young people to do one thing, and it was quite simple, which was learning to help others. That is undoubtedly one of the greatest things we can do in terms of human beings, and through his loving kindness, Edward has proven this statement to be absolutely true.